Hey everyone, it's Michael from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au. It's that time of the week where we do the Michael's Mailbox. As I drop my microphone on the floor, we do the Michael's Mailbox. Now this is just a session where we go through and answer any of the main questions that have been hit on YouTube over the last week or so, or any questions that people have asked a few times in a few different ways, or maybe they take a bit more explanation than we're willing to type out, so we try and hit them here on the Michael's Mailbox. So let's launch straight in. So I'm actually looking at the comments from the last Mailbox, which we did a week or so ago. And there's a bit of a discussion on here from Deleter about the Dragons for next year, and if they're trying to make space for the massive uphill battle to produce Dragons. I don't think they are. I think Perth Mint have just got themselves better organised. They kept minting over the Christmas break. From what I understand, they were able to get on top of a few of the back orders and things that were out of stock. And I'm noticing now with they tend to send me most days an email with everything that's currently available. And it's getting rarer and rarer that things are out of stock. It still does happen here and there, but they seem to be on top of things over there. So I think it's just the fact that they've caught up. They've still got a very busy production schedule, but I think they're just starting to catch up on their backlog, which is great to see. A few comments in here about the epic buybacking video that we shot. That was of the various silver that we've bought. It was a mixture of a couple of different buybacks in there. And Sierra Charlie here says, stack envy, there's always a bigger stack. And he's 100% correct. Always someone got more than you. We did a buyback yesterday of 80 by 1,000 ounces. That's right, 80,000 ounces of silver in one buyback. So as you can see, there's always a bigger buyback. And just on that, just as a side, you'll actually see a video come out. The buybacking video will come out on that tomorrow. But we've actually released those 1,000 ounce bars to the web today on special, so you can get them for spot price. So if you're after some silver at spot, head over to bullionnow.com.au, head to the 1,000 ounce bars that we've got listed on there, and you'll pick up some silver at spot. So you're welcome, Silver Delta. He's thanking us for the pre-order on the 23 koalas. So that was out. In fact, they've started to be shipped now, so you should be receiving them in the post. Simply Traders making a comment about a subscription service, and he's making some suggestions there about the unallocated gold or silver on a weekly subscription service, which I think would be a great idea. I'm just not sure of the mechanics behind it yet, but we will get there. Probably the one I wanted to touch on again is the stir that's been caused, and Crypto Monkey brings it up here, about the fact that we don't have PayPal on our website at the moment. There's a couple of different problems with PayPal that we're facing. And I've been fairly open about this online. This isn't going to be a shock to anyone. We are getting there. We've almost solved all the problems. Some of them are us related with the new website, but quite a number of them are PayPal's reinterpretation of some guarantees that they offer, and we're just trying to work our way through those as well. Hopefully very soon PayPal will be back on board again. Danny Shepherd, hi, can you please make a section on the website that allows us to see our metal holdings for the unallocated program? It's a great suggestion, it's a great idea. There seems to be a challenge in the back end of being able to do that. At this stage, what we're looking at doing is putting a button on the website. I don't know if that's going to be on the front page or on your account page, where you can push that button and it actually generates an email that will give you a summary of your account, all your purchases and sellbacks on the unallocated. That seems to be the best way to do it with the security features that we've got built into the website. We try and not allow the website to talk to our back end. We don't tend to let the back end talk to the website because that's where security issues can occur. But this way it's actually generating an email and sending it out to you. So the brain's trust seems to think that that's a much more secure way of doing it. So we're actually exploring that, and I'm hoping that's up and running within a couple of months. Love the discussion from Urban Aerials about the visiting the op shops to snag some sterling on the cheap. And I liked Ruben's comment on that one where he's threatening to take in the XRF into the op shop. So that was that one made me smile. I think that's pretty much it. We hinted at the 5-ounce rabbits being available, and we've released that video already. Alrighty, so let's move on to the next one, which is the koala release day. So a few comments on there. Lots of love for the koala. Lots of non-love for the koala design. There's a few people that didn't think it was fantastic, but a lot of people supported it. A few comments about how it was a double release week. We released the wedgetail as well as the koala, which was always good fun when we can do multiple things like that. And the rest of the discussion, I'm not going to pick out individual names, but the rest of the discussion on it was referring back to that, the fact that we didn't limit numbers on the wedgetail eagle. That one's always a double-edged sword for us, and we've gone through it. I'm not going to play on it too long, but it's always a bit of a double-edged sword, that one. When we limit numbers, we cop a bit of grief for it. And when we don't limit numbers, we cop a little bit of grief for it. So we didn't limit the numbers on the wedgetail. There wasn't that many larger orders that came through. I think off the top of my head, it was around about the 40. We had a couple of them that went through at the 40, but everyone else kind of got the 1, 2, 5, 10 sort of number. With the release, interestingly enough, that we did yesterday for the 5-ounce, we did limit the numbers on that one. We got far less of those. We didn't think we'd sell out of the thousands of wedgetails that we got quite as quickly as we did. We only got a few hundred in the 5-ounce rabbits, so we did limit those to 1 per person. And that's about it. There wasn't a huge number of comments on that on the koala one, because it was a bit of a normal one. All right, one that we did get lots of comments on was the $1 million, and it was actually worth more than $1 million, but the $1 million worth of Krugerrands. This lit up the skies like nothing else. So a lot of people here say, Script Hobbies, hell yeah guys, been waiting for one of these for a while, fantastic price, great work being, because a lot of people were interested in the fact that we had that much of a buyback here, the fact that there were so many of the one thing, the Krugerrands there, but also the fact that we did them all at spot. So when we can purchase these things at good prices, we're quite happy to pass that on to people, and that's what we've done here. So a lot of love for that, which was really good to see. I was really happy that people were happy that they got the gold at spot. So a few questions in regards to the history behind them, and unfortunately on a public level we can't talk about that. But the few things I can say is, as I said on the video, the discussion of how gold was a way that this group of people, this family, decided to move their wealth from one country to another and to store it in that wealth, and the way it had worked out. I think somebody worked out in the comments there that the Krugerrands at that stage, when they're likely to have bought them around, the mid-70s sort of time, Krugerrands were around that $200 mark, whereas now they were being sold at, help me here Ruben, about $2,700-ish. High 26s, low 27s, somewhere in there, whatever spot price was. So you can see even over that time frame, not only have they been able to move their wealth from one place to another securely, but also they've managed to maintain that wealth despite inflation and recessions and all that we've had over that time. Those coins, that gold content, had been increasing in value, preserving that wealth over time. So there was some good discussions on that. Plume Air, I always get your name wrong, mate, so I'm sorry if I've dropped the ball on this one. But Plume Air Albanac, just a question regarding claiming GST at the airport. Do you have to repay it on arrival if you don't sell them while overseas? Ruben actually released a video on that when he went to Europe fairly recently, on how he claimed the gold back, and then actually, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ruben's in the background, but he's not mic'd. You sold it overseas?
I did.
Yeah, so Ruben sold it overseas, so he can actually talk more fully for that on that, and I think he does that in the video. Did you ever have you released part 2 of that yet? Okay, so part 2 will be released soon on his experience of selling it overseas.
But the question is, do you have to sell it overseas?
That is the intent of the legislation. yeah, lots of love for the pricing. There was another comment on here. I'm trying to. I can't find it in a hurry. A few comments in relation to the Lethal Weapon 2 reference that we put in there. If you haven't seen Lethal Weapon 2, go and see it. It's a good film, and you'll see why those references are in there, because a lot of it is based. The storyline is based around these Krugerrands. They are very, very. They're a very synonymous gold product. They have a checkered history. They're a beautiful product. They are 22 carat gold. They are 1 ounce of pure gold in there, or 1 ounce of gold content in there. It's probably a better way to explain it. They have the story behind them, which is a fascinating way to do it. One of the comments here, and this is one that I wanted to pick up on. This is from Kona Commuter. And it's a really valid point, and I was glad she brought it up. I must confess to being more than a little shirty at missing out. Missed out on the wedge tail, missed out on this. I guess that's what happens when your job doesn't involve being attached to the internet all day. How about spreading out the great opportunities like this throughout the day, during the evening for the rest of us? I've already given up trying to collect a series of coins because it's ridiculous to have a piece you need for your collection sell out minutes after hitting the web. So there's a couple of things here, and I think I think their comment is spot on, that quite often we do release these during the day, and some of these more popular items, they're gone before people who have been at work all day or just aren't available at that time have been able to click onto them. With these Krugerrands, we've pretty much sorted out the lot of them, and they've gone, but I believe we've got some extra ones that have come in, and we're committing to doing a second release of those. Don't contact us and say, I want to reserve one, because we're not going to do that. We're actually going to reserve these for a release in the evening later on this week. So stand by. Keep your eye on our chat channel. On our YouTube channel and on our website. It's a great reason why you should subscribe and hit that notification bell. And we don't push that very much, because Ruben and I both kind of roll our eyes when people say that. But it is actually one of the advantages of having that notification bell on there, because if you don't subscribe, then it just turns up in your feed eventually. If you do subscribe, then YouTube will put it into your feed soon. If you hit the subscription bell, they should notify you of it pretty much as soon as we release it. And that way you're notified and you can act on any of those ridiculously crazy specials that we do from time to time. So it's not a bad idea just to subscribe and have that notification bell hit. But yes, going back to the Krugers, we are going to try and do another batch. It'll be a smaller batch, but we're going to try and do another batch release in the evening sometime this week. There you go. I've committed to it on camera. Lots of good support for these. BDK, for peace of mind, because this is an epic buyback, have all coins been tested? I've heard the Krug has a history of being faked between low and no security features, or because of low and no security features. There absolutely is a history. I can't remember now. About 5 years ago, there was a big uproar because of a bad batch of Krugers that came through the Australian system. A stack of fakes in there, but just so I can say this on camera, so people know, everything that is brought back through the store is tested. Every single thing, every single item is tested before it goes out and back on for sale again. So yes, poor old Brett sat there painstakingly in the back room, zapping each and every one of them with the XRF to make sure that that they were what they were supposed to be. A number of comments on how quickly we sold out. From WAP High here. Wow, you guys are hot. $1 million of turnover in under a couple of hours. I need to turn on my notification button. Well, I've just talked about that. You'd be amazed at the amount of turnover that can occur at different times through even a smaller company like ourselves, never mind moving to some of the very large companies. Millions of dollars of gold can change hands, or silver, very, very, very quickly. Alrighty, I think we've done enough on that. More of it's a shame I missed out variations. Alrighty, another one that we released last week, and this was an apology for me. So we couldn't do the live stream last Friday because I was otherwise occupied at the Avalon Airshow. So for those that don't know, my background is actually in aviation. I'm a pilot by training, and I go along and support a pyrotechnics company that's owned by a good friend of mine that does all the pyrotechnics for quite a lot of the air shows around Australia, but particularly for Avalon. The whole week they're there with all sorts of pyrotechnics, and I go along to effectively be interpreter between the pilots and the pyrotechnicians. No, I don't blow things up as a rule, although I certainly do help hands-on where I can. But yeah, I'm there as an interpreter more than anything else. So a lot of pilots don't speak pyrotechnic, and a lot of pyrotechnicians don't speak pilot. So they need someone in the middle to interpret, and that happens to be me. And it's a great fun job, and it's one of the weeks I take off every other year just to provide support there. So again, apologies for that. If anyone got a chance to go to Avalon Airshow and see the various things, particularly the Friday night pyrotechnics, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave comment about if you enjoyed it or not. It's actually the largest fire line in the Southern Hemisphere, that one. And then there's also the wall of fire that we produced on that day. And the nightly one was 950 metres long of fire line. So it's quite a large explosion all in one hit, that wall of fire there. So a lot of fun and a good break from Bullion at times. Alrighty, not too many more videos to go. The video about the 5 ounce the 5 ounce rabbit released this week. So that was released yesterday by the Perth Mint and by ourselves, and a few of the other bullion dealers had them around Australia. They did go very, very quickly. I'm just reading from Silver Noob here. Ruben and I were actually down at the Bullion Now bunker when we filled that one. And Silver Noob is, I think, requesting a tour of the bunker. So we'll have to see what we can do, Rubes, next time we're in the neighbourhood. But yeah, a lot of support, as I said earlier, for the fact that we limited those to one per person. I'd like to re-emphasise something that I do in the video there, and that's don't get caught up in the hype of the 5 ounce. So like the last few years, the 5 ounce has been the size to get of the Lunar series from Perth Mint in the silver. It's been the lowest mintage numbers. It's absolutely increased in value very quickly historically. So I would strongly suggest getting one as part of your stack. But as you've seen from ours, even though we limited to one per person, they sold out really, really quickly. I don't know if Ruben can check right now, but I'd suspect that the Perth Mint would be very close to sell out if they're not sold out now. Don't race around now and pay whatever price people are paying, because they've released these ones earlier in the year than they normally would. So there is time. I'm not saying that they are going to, okay, I need to be really clear about this. I don't have inside knowledge on this, but there is time for them to do another run or two before the end of production for the rabbit. I suspect they won't produce another one, but in case I'm wrong, if you haven't got one yet and you can't secure one at market price, so the current market price is around about that $200 mark, give or take a little bit, 10, 15, 20%. If you can't secure one in that kind of envelope, I would actually hold off buying them for, say, the next 6 to 8 weeks, because in that time you're going to see the price will jump up. There'll be a bubble caused because people will panic that they've missed out, and then you'll find that it will start to taper off in about 6 to 8 weeks' time. And in which case we'll either know if Perth Mint is doing another run, because they will do it within the next 2 months if they're going to, and if they're not, the heat will have come out of that spike, and you should be able to pay a more reasonable price for the coin rather than getting caught up in this emotion that will occur over the next few weeks of people madly trying to secure one or more. So by all means, grab them now. If they're in your picture, you're in your wheelhouse, in your collection that you want to have, absolutely grab them while you can, but don't pay excessive amounts. Don't pay anything more than that. $230, $240. I'd be very reluctant to go any more than that. We were selling them at about $199 each, and that's the recommended retail, although no one does a recommended retail for these things anymore. don't pay more than that $230, $240. Wait to see what happens, because it'd be nothing worse than paying, you know, $300 or $400 for one, and then finding out that Perth Mint does another massive production in 2 months' time, and the price collapses out from under you. So just be patient. If you can't get them now, wait 6 to 8 weeks and then grab them. Hope that made sense. Yeah, lots of support for us breaking them down a bit. Lots of queries, and this will be, I'll guarantee the next video I'm going to click on comments will be the last one. And it's all about this, a lot of these comments are about what's happened with the media reports into the Perth Mint and what's been going on over there. So I'm not going to do this one to death again. We produced a video yesterday called Gold and the Perth Mint in the Mainstream Media. I strongly suggest that you watch that. I strongly suggest that you watch the Four Corners report. We're about to release another video, so a part 2, if you like, to ours, of that whole scenario that's playing out over there in Perth at the moment. There's some more things have come to light, and so we just wanted to talk about them again. I don't want to make this a part 3 of that, as Ruben said earlier, but I do really want to say to people, absolutely view all of the information that's being put forward, but you really do need to run it through your own logic filter. Don't take Perth Mint's word for it as gospel. Don't take the ABC Four Corners journalist word for it as gospel. Don't take Bullion Now's interpretation of it as gospel. Read them, watch them, digest them, and then run them through a logic filter, and I think you will see it for what it is. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the comment at there. I don't want to make this a part 3, as I said a moment ago. Please, please, please apply the logic filter. Look at people's different motivations behind what they're saying, because there are absolutely egos involved here. There are egos at the Perth Mint and reputation. There are egos at the ABC and the journalist for reputation. There are egos and reputation for us at stake. So absolutely review each one of those. Run it through your logic filter and see what conclusion you come to. And I think you will see through a lot of the emotion that is being thrown out there and played on. And it's not just the ABC, and it's not just us, and it's not just Perth Mint. There are comments now from other YouTube people, other insiders, other experts, and also other news channels are getting on board. If you watch those videos that we've released, you'll see my version of it. But again, I can't overemphasize this. I don't work for the Perth Mint or the ABC or any other organisation. I work for and own Bullion Now. And you need to take my comments in context with that. I don't have inside the company knowledge. I have industry knowledge because I work in it, and I have industry knowledge because I own a company in it, and I have all the biases that are attached to that. Come up with your own interpretation of it and your own logic check on it. I'm going to leave it there because I could do this all day because it's a bit of a soapbox for me. I hope that answers everyone's questions. If there are some things that you've commented on in previous videos and you'd like me to discuss them at a bit further depth, just make comments below. We absolutely read them. We comment on them where we feel appropriate and where we can, and then we also bring them up in these Michael's Mailbox, which we try and run about every week or so as a pre-recorded thing. Stay tuned for the rest of the week. We are going to have a fantastic epic buybacking tomorrow of 1,000-ounce silver bars. Even if you can't afford one, have a look at it, because it's just amazing to see that much silver all in one place and to think that that's one buyback. We also have some other exciting things coming up later on this week and into next week, not least being the live stream for Friday. And I'm personally looking, let me speak English this time. I am personally really looking forward to that one, because it's been a few weeks since we've managed to do a live stream on a Friday. And the usual suspects will be there and discussing all sorts of things. You can ask pretty much anything you like, and we will try and respond to it in a timely manner as quickly as we can. And absolutely, We are more than happy to take questions on this Perth Mint saga that is playing out. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but we certainly will spend a chunk of time on it because it is important, and we're happy to answer your questions. We're not going to sidestep them or dodge them. So if you've got questions along those lines or anything else industry related at all, or even just general interest related, bring it along 2:30 Friday and we will tune in then. That's it for now. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk again soon. See ya.